Bam, bam, bam. Hello, 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 everyone. What's up, world? It's your boy, Alan Levi Simmons. And I'm here again with the Purpose Pod. All right, my dramatic intros, I have to work on it. I promise it's going to get better. It's going to get better. I'm trying to be more dramatic, and give you more passion in the beginning. But yeah, we'll get back to that later. So this is the Purpose Pod. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are interested in transforming your life, this is the podcast for you. I'm telling you, today is going to be awesome. I promise. My next guest is no other than Adam J. Foutz. I'm bringing him on right now. Let's bring him on. What's going on, Adam?
What's up, Al? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, brother. I'm doing good. I gave you the disclaimer of my foolishness, so you have seen it firsthand.
That's all right. Like I said, I'm goofy, but I just it takes me a while to.
It's okay. I'm going to warm you up. I'm going to get you all fuzzy inside. I don't know if that sounded good, but yeah, we're going to do that. So welcome, brother. Welcome to the Purpose Pod, man. And I am so glad to have you on here. We've talked here and there on Facebook, mainly, and we've watched each other's lives, go through the decades of transformation and. So it's been awesome, man. So just to let you guys know, I served with Adam in the Marine Corps, and I haven't seen him in the last 10 years or so. So this is an honor to be, on here with him, and he's doing great things. And we're going to go ahead and let them know, your name, where you're from, and maybe something interesting about you, to start us off.
Yeah, so my name is Adam Foutz. I grew up in Girard, Ohio, currently living in Virginia. And something interesting fact. I wrote a children's book. I think it's pretty interesting. So
that is interesting. Yeah. How did you get started with that? Like, what made you want to write a children's book?
All right, so I think the first thing is it's a good question. I always loved writing as a kid, but I usually write songs, raps, whatever. And then I don't know, it's kind of crazy. But I was in California. We're going to a church in San Diego, and I don't know, like the pastor was just all about releasing the spirit, So I was like, God, I'm just praying for more influence. And this is back in like 2012. And I'm sitting there in the middle of like a worship service, and I felt like he just said like write a children's book, and I was like, I just started laughing. I'm like, this is ridiculous, like a children's book for real, like what do I even write about? And I like. We lived in Camp Pendleton, so from San Diego to Camp Pendleton is a 45-minute drive.
Right.
So it hit me like as soon as we got in the car, and then on a 45-minute drive, I already had the story in my head. And went home, wrote it out, and then I contacted a friend. I was stationed in Tennessee before being stationed in California. I said, hey, like I know you're an artist. You want to be an illustrator? Like I write songs. I don't write children's books. Like this. It's just kind of work on this together, and so they did the artwork. I was like, I'll trust whatever you do. And then my wife was the editor, and we learned about CreateSpace, which is the platform that Amazon. I don't know if they still use it or not, but that's the platform we used, and just walked through it myself and published the book. It's pretty cool, man.
Wow, that's awesome. So we're gonna have to get. What's the book called?
It's called All in a Dog's Day, a day in the life of Mr. Wiggins. And Mr. Wiggins is our Pomeranian. He's a little black Pomeranian. So,
so it's a real dog.
About his life. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I got an interruption right now. I told you I may, we're impromptu.
It's okay. They can come on the Purpose Pod as well.
Come on. You want to show me something?
2 cars plus 1 car equals 3.
That's true.
Yeah.
So this is Alan. Can you say hi, Alan?
Hey, bud.
So he was actually wearing your shirt yesterday, and I was a little disappointed because I was like, man, I should have had him wear it today, But,
yeah, he could have worn it today. You can wear it again.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, I'm the guy that gave him the shirt. Tell him that the guy.
Remember the shirt that you got in the mail?
Yeah.
That's the gentleman that gave you the shirt.
Hey, buddy.
Do you remember what it says? Never stop, never quit, repeat. There it is. There it is. We're gonna keep talking, okay?
And I can't hear that guy.
I know.
You can't hear me.
I don't have my split headphones.
So they can't hear that guy.
But let's show them your cars, and then we'll go back upstairs, okay? How many cars
Those
you
are
got?
nice, yeah.
2 cars.
Oh, I'll get it.
He said, okay. See you later,
2
bud.
cars
Yeah,
plus
awesome.
1
plus one car
is 3.
Equals 3.
That's right.
He's so awesome.
Nah,
He's like,
he is.
Dad, look what I got.
Oh, go see Mama. There she is. Love you, buddy. Thank you for that math equation.
He's like, Dad, look. 2 cards plus 1 card equals 3.
Yeah.
That's awesome though. Hey, but that's the life of working at home.
Yeah,
And that's awesome,
that is.
man. So
That is.
it is what it is. I don't mind at all. And so the children's book, your dog, right? So your dog wrote, well, your dog didn't write the book. You wrote the book for your dog, and that's a beautiful thing. Man's best friend.
That's right.
So do you see yourself writing any more books?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So I did write a second book. So I was stationed in Tennessee. There's a captain that was he was an operations officer.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't work directly for him, but we worked in the same building. You know, obviously we grew connected. And he was the first person to put an Amazon review. He gave me a 5-star review.
Yeah.
And he got the book. He told his daughter about it. His daughter was 5 years old at the time. And he tells me, like, yeah, I told her, like, hey, I know the author, I know all this stuff. And she's like, wow, Daddy, like, you know the author? That's cool. Like, I want to write a book, you know? So I ended up, and I don't even know if I could say this on air, but what I ended up doing was the platform that was on Amazon. I basically made a manual out of that. And then I ended up, you know, kind of talking people through the writing process of how to get started with the idea. So essentially I created a manual of like, get started, get through it. Here's the steps to do it for little to no cost on your own. Here's how you can get it published through Barnes and Nobles and all that other stuff. So the crazy thing about this book is that it's called How to Write and Self-Publish a Book, minimizing costs while maximizing profits. I think I got something breaking in again, but oh, this is my daughter this time. So this book I ended up dedicating to the daughter of the captain, and I put her in the intro to say, hey, look, I wrote this for you. And her dad just used it to publish his first book.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he published in January. So
so you have an actual template for people to follow to write a book. How can they get that? Could they email you like, hey, Adam, can I get that? Can they subscribe to an email list so they can get that from you, or what?
Yeah, so again, it's on Amazon. It is a book. It's $20.
Okay.
I guarantee that I'll walk you through the process. You just buy the book, and you basically buying me, and I'll help you out. Come here, baby girl. Come here.
So y'all make sure y'all do that, because I know a lot of people want to write books. Oh, yeah.
Love you, baby girl. See you soon. Okay.
I don't have kids. I don't get that pleasure of Daddy's busy.
Yeah. So we're talking about children's books and stuff. And,
and it works.
Mr. Wiggins walked in, so you can see this guy.
And there goes Mr. Wiggins, the man of the hour who has his own book.
Baby girl's in here too,
which is awesome. You got the whole tribe coming in.
Yeah, I know. Mama's here.
This is awesome. Facebook family and friends. This is how family operates. You got to do business together. Storms.
She's interested, but she doesn't want to be on camera. So
I know your wife is like,
yeah, no, it's like, I'm sorry.
It reminds me. I don't know if you ever seen that video where it was like it was a video on Facebook, and it was like a guy. I don't know if he was like a news reporter or some CEO, but he was like interviewing, and his kid walked in, and like the mom or the nanny, whoever came through the door dragging the baby by the diapers. Was like, I was like, yeah, that's awesome. But that's how it is though, and that's the way it should be. You know, your family should be able to jump in there.
Hey, Joanne.
What up, Joanne? But so we're talking about creating vision and execution, right?
Yep.
And I think this is perfect one for you because of your story and you know where you've come from. Like we both went through boot camp, and that was just something in itself. But you've been through another battle, another boot camp, you know, and I want you to kind of introduce the topic of vision and execution, but I want you to, you know, go ahead and tell your story about, you know, how you had to go through, you know, what you went through and with your autoimmune disease, you know, or what is it? Is it? I don't know. I don't want to. Okay.
It's autoimmune. It's called Crohn's disease and
Crohn's disease.
I mean, essentially since diagnosis, it's just shaped the rest of my life, to be honest. And so I left Okinawa. We were stationed together. I left Okinawa, and I don't know, I can get into theories or whatever, but it's like every time my sister got in a car accident, I went to visit, and I started having symptoms every time I went back. Came back to Okinawa, I was fine. I was doing like triathlon training, doing all this stuff, and then I get stationed in Nashville, Tennessee, and within 30 days, I lost like 21 pounds unexpectedly.
Wow.
And I was like, maybe it's diet. Like, in the unit did CrossFit there, so we're like, all right, maybe it's diet, exercise, and then I mean, just to be honest, like, that was the guitar she turned on. It just turned off. But yeah, so I thought it was diet and exercise, and then I started, like, every time I go to the bathroom, there'd be blood, there'd be mucus, and then there'd be times where I didn't even eat, and I'd have more frequency of this happening. So I saw my doctor. We waited about 2 years. I was like, yeah, let's do some, like, whatever, some maintenance for the most part, if you will. And then ended up getting married in 2010, and then I don't know, stress levels just really rise, and my health just declined. And my goal was to be a marine drill instructor, and so I get diagnosed. I think it was 2011. I got diagnosed with ulcerative colitis at the time. And my goal was to be a drill instructor. So I had a civilian doctor, and I said, hey, look, I don't know anything about this condition, but I have these goals. And the interesting thing was, like, I had applied 3 or 4 times, got denied, and then the new message came out in the Marine Corps that, hey, we need more special duty assignment personnel. So the last time I applied, I got selected, but I told my civilian doctor, I'm like, look, I don't know what this condition means. I don't know the impact. I can see it, obviously, but this is something I want to do. I was like, I want to go to drill instructor school. And he's like, well, what is that? I was like, oh, it's just training. Like, you're doing exercises, you're doing whatever, And I was like, I just need you to write fully medically qualified, because that's the goal. That's the goal of the statement, And so I walk out of the doctor's office with my diagnosis and my follow-ups, and he signs off fully medically qualified. And my commander told me, like, hey, if you have issues, like, you can't go. And before you go to a special duty assignment, you got to do, like, your 30-day review. And he's like, no, you're good. And I went there, and it was tough, man. Like, the physical side was fine. Like, the lack of sleep was fine. The screaming was probably the worst part, because when you scream from the gut, you know what I mean? Like, it's
a lot of energy.
A lot of energy, a lot of stress. And I probably lost more blood there than I ever had in my existence, my condition. And I got there, and one of the corpsmen, I wasn't updated on my shots and my vaccines. So, like, hey, you gotta do a flu vaccine. And I'm like, all right, well, I just can't do a live vaccine. And they're like, well, why not? And I'm like, well, I have Crohn's disease, and I'm on this medication, And they're like, well, you need to talk to the nurse practitioner or whatever. And I told them, like, I want to be here. I feel like it's my calling. I feel like this is part of my journey. Like, I'll do whatever. Like, if I got to meet you once a week and just let you know what my symptoms are, like, if we can work something out. And she's like, you're not even going to last a week, And I made it to week 3, and I felt like and this kind of ties into that vision aspect. I felt like Old Yeller. Like, I'm a rabid dog. I'm about to go talk to my owner to get shot, like, shot and killed. And, like, it was a Tuesday morning. We're in formation. I can't even scream, because the only thing I can describe it as is like somebody, like, took an NCO sword. Like, I don't know, no one knows what an NCO sword is. Like a samurai sword. And I was like, from my rectum up to my esophagus, it's like somebody just stuck it up there, and I couldn't scream. And I just lost so much blood the night before. So I'm in formation pretending to yell with the instructors and advisors there. And, they know, but I was like, whatever, I got to yell. I got to sound off. So I get through the day, I make it to lunch, and I knew, like, all right, like, this is happening. So I go see the doctor, and that thought's crossing my mind. And, like, I literally just saw, like, a black hole, like, no vision whatsoever, because I had set my mind so focused on this. And at this point, it had been, 2012. So that means it was 6 years. 6 years into my career. So I told him, hey, look, I told you I'd be honest, so I'm being honest. And they're like, all right, like, you're done. Like, go give this paperwork to whoever. And they take you through this process because they're trying to figure out if you're malingering, if you're like, if you're
just
faking it, you know,
fake the system.
And the first sergeant sits me down. He says, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "You know what? Like, I'm married, and this is something I really wanted to do. I was like, it's a 3-year experience, and I don't want to trade a 20-year career for a 3-year experience. Like, it just doesn't make sense. I'm like, if I was single, I'd be all about it. Like, whatever, I'll keep going." But I was like, but I think the wise decision is whatever the doctor suggests is just let them do it.
Right.
And that was tough, man. That was tough. And
yeah.
But as soon as I like had that realization, I had to go see the docs one more time to like medically out process and stuff. And I realized, I'm like, you know what? Like, it's not that bad. Like, I can go to school, I can get my education while I'm still in. Like, I'm still in, you know, it's just my career is going to look a little different. I went back to my unit, and the big thing when we were in it was all about deploying, you know. So I still hadn't deployed. So I'm like, hey, you know what? Like, I told my sergeant major. He said, "What do you want to do?" I was like, "Well, I need to deploy," you know. And he comes back like an hour later, and he's like, "What do you think about Marine Special Operations Command, MARSOC, and Camp Pendleton?" I'm like, "Camp Pendleton and MARSOC, you know?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Heck yeah," you know.
Yeah,
so
right, exactly.
I'm texting my wife, and again, we had our mindset because the monitor. So the monitor is like the HR person that tells you where you got to go and all that. Like, no, you need an East Coast duty. So I was like, I'll go to South Carolina. I'll go to Beaufort. I'll do my, maybe I'll deploy with the Air Wing or something, get healthy, and then I'll go back to be, DI school or whatever. So that's where my mind was. My wife's a teacher, so her license transferred to South Carolina. So that's where our mind is, right? So I texted her like, "Hey, what do you think about Camp Pendleton Special Operations Command?" And she's like, "Are you serious?" You know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Well, what do you think?" I'm like, I want to go, you know?
Yeah.
And it's cool. We took my in-laws out there. They drove cross country with us, and that's kind of when. That's really just when things got even worse. Like, I couldn't deploy. Again, the doctor's like, "What are you doing here? Like, how are you here?" You know.
Right.
I'm like, "Look, I'm working on my education. Like, can I be a Marine officer?" She's like, "No, I'm not letting you go to field training." I'm like, "Can I be a warrant officer?" She's like, "Well, you still got to go to field training. I'm not letting you do that." I'm like, "I can't go to SEER. I can't do any of this stuff." Like, she's like, "No. She's like, just be happy you're a Marine." You know.
Yeah. Wow.
But that experience was actually, it's kind of crazy, man. Like, saying yes to that experience actually set up the trajectory of what came. And I did a good job, and I did well while I was there. I did my job, and the command took care of me. But I started more aggressive treatments and medication. I was on a steroid that, I don't know, like mood swings, depression, all the other stuff that comes with it. And I'm like, I know myself, and I'm like reconciling. I actually made a post about it years ago. I remember, like, it's like my body was fighting my mind. My body's fatigued, like my body's worn down, but my spirit is still strong,
Right.
And there's like a disconnect between what I'm physically feeling and where I am mentally.
Yeah.
And then you have the added effect of this medication and this drug that's just messing you up, And I'm like, I'm analyzing all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, this emotion isn't me. This is the medication, and that's fine.
Yeah.
How am I going to respond? It was a very, very interesting spiritual experience, to be honest.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
So you went through a lot in like 6 years, six years, pretty much. You went through a lot, and even when you found out about the Crohn's disease, you still had goals, right? You still had things that you wanted to do. You did not allow that to push you away from, what you wanted. And it would have probably been easy to slip into depression before you got the medication and stuff, before they gave you the pills at the VA. It probably would have been easy for you to slip into that, because you could start to see your dreams kind of stretch away from you in a sense. It's like, oh, I have these dreams, but
I mean, it was literally like they were gone. Like, it was just like black hole. Like, I see nothing in front of me. I can't even see the steps in front of me. Like,
but so what kept you in the game then? Like, so, like a lot of us haven't had a news that was life-changing, like you did, right? And so how did you stay afloat, before all of that? Like, I'm surprised you still continue to chase your dreams,
Yeah, like, it's just interesting, man. Like, I was just being in that command. Like, they had great psychologists, they got great physical therapists, like they got top notch, like what you would expect across the entire military is what, like, a lot of the effort and funding for SOCOM is just there. And so they have the resources and just that community of people who are willing to work with, like in Okinawa, it's like, hey, you're a garrison Marine and like, you're jacked up, like there's like do your job, go home, spend time with your family. So I think like one is like rest. I know rest for a lot of people is very difficult. But to me, it's like my body just needed it. But also understanding like, okay, like I still got a job. I'm going to continue working and we'll kind of see where this goes. And I don't know, man. It's just like I kind of just took it one step at a time. I was like, okay, I can't be a drill instructor anymore. I can't be an officer. I can't deploy. Like those doors are closed. But what can I do in the situation that I'm provided? And I'm like, you know what? Like I can still lead Marines in my condition. I can still lead my family the best I can. I can still like. Really, I fell back on my education. I'm like, I got free money for school. I just need to keep going to school because I don't know what's going to happen in the next year, in the next 2 years. And so that's what I focused on. I was like, okay, I can't be a drill instructor. Let me try to deploy. Okay, I go to deployable unit. I can't deploy. Okay, well, what can I do? I can do my job. I can still work out at that time. And I could go to school. And that's kind of what I focused on, just little things. I think it's like analyzing like what is in your toolbox around you and what can you leverage to just to tap into it and just do something,
So you said leveraging your toolbox. I like that. I like that a lot. Leveraging your toolbox because there are things that you're good at naturally. There's things that you could be good at naturally, or if you learn it, like podcasting or writing a book, if you learn it. So you did something that I'm sure maybe only 40% of society would do. They're like, oh, it's not what I can't do. It's like, what can I do?
Yes.
So you went from the, this is happening to me to the, what can I do attitude versus this is happening to me. I can't do this anymore. I can't. And then that's how I think the can'ts put us in that kind of that ditch, where life is continuing to pile its crap on us. And we're like, oh, I can't do this. I can't do that. So that's just amazing in itself, man. And I respect you fully for that. And you took, you bodybuilding, like, dude, I saw your picture and I was like, whoa, hold on a sec. When did this happen? Why did he tell me I was supposed to go work out on my abs and my chest and stuff? Because you just, so like, how did you make that transition?
So I guess I'll have to finish the story here. So I actually left California. I couldn't deploy. I helped stand up the organization. And in the midst of that, the billet that I was supposed to fill actually ended up getting backfilled, if that makes sense. So like I got orders to a unit that didn't exist. So they put me on a detachment. And then when we stood up the unit, they filled my slot. And I got special orders to Quantico, coincidentally, to train officer candidates because I had drill instructor experience by going to the school. And I told them on there, I'm like, look, I'm supposed to be here for 3 years. Like, I'm supposed to do X, Y, Z. Like, this doesn't make sense. I'm like, I don't even rate the MOS of being a drill instructor because I didn't finish school. Like, it don't matter. We need you here, And so I told the command, and they're like, and I finished my bachelor's while I was there. So in 2013, I finished my bachelor's, and I sat down with the command. Like, hey, did you know about this? I'm like, no, I was like, but like, I don't know what's gonna happen to me, but I do know that the way my trajectory is going, my health is only getting worse. The treatments are getting more aggressive. I said my skills transfer to this area, so if I have to get out, I have these skills. I said, my wife's her license transfers to this area, so if I have to get out, she could teach, And I'm like, I kind of felt like it was a land of opportunity. And staying in California, I'm like, there's really nothing here. And I told him, I said, I don't want to be like, if nobody knows the Bible, I don't know, but the Israelites who wandered for 40 years when all they had to do was walk 11 days to get to their promised land, So we took the orders, and this is where it just gets crazy. So we moved twice within 11 months. We moved from Tennessee to Camp Pendleton, now to Virginia. Wow. The command's like, hey, like, I'm training reservists. My orders got changed en route. So now I'm in a reserve unit. I'm doing the same job that I did in California. I'm helping stand up the system for supply. The officer there was like, hey, we need somebody to do Marine Corps instructor, water survival school to train our reservists. And I was like, you know what, like, I can't do an SDA, I can't do a special duty assignment, I can't deploy. Like, I need a feather in my cap to just maintain competitiveness, you know.
Yeah,
and
right.
I was like, I'll do it, you know. So I go to McQuist, and at this point too, like, I'm very conscientious of my health. I'm like, hey, look, I need to check in with gastroenterologist, I need to see my PCM, primary care physician or primary care manager. None of that was happening, so I was like lost in translation for like 7 months. And I go to McQuist, the instructor school. I make it to graduation week, and I end up, we do tower jumps. So the tower's like 10 to 15 feet. And you're doing synchronized jumps, and you know, you're bracing yourself on impact, right? And like that tension, numerous times over and over, caused me to get a flare up, caused me to get an ulcer. I go to the bathroom, I'm bleeding, and I tell the instructors, and they knew about my situation, but I was like, hey, it got aggravated. Like, what do you want to do? I'm like, well, it's graduation week. Of course I want to graduate, you know?
Right.
Like, all right, go to medical. I go to medical. They're like, hey, like, now that we know this happened, we have you in the system. Like, we'll get you taken care of. What do you want to do? I'm like, well, I want to graduate, you know? So they actually modified graduation from tower jumps to just falling into, like, pencil diving into the side of the pool.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I ended up being able to train the reservists, get them up to speed on their swimming, you know, and stuff like that. And as an instructor, you don't have to swim, you don't have to do the tower jumps, you just have somebody else demonstrate. So it worked out. But so that started the next cycle. That was 2013. You know, fast forward. Now we're like, we got a house, you know, we're getting established. You know, we got a house. We moved it twice in 1 year. We took the money from our move and we put it on my wife's student loans to minimize that. So we had like $1,000 left on that. Then we had the credit card debt from our move, so that's like 13 grand. So we maxed out our credit card. And then in the process of moving from Tennessee to California, we bought a new car because I was like, hey, your car's not going to make it, you know?
Yeah.
Now, here I am, like, I walked into marriage debt free. Like, the only thing I ever had was a car. I paid it off in a year, you know, before I got married. And I would actually, like, in Okinawa, I would take out small loans and just pay them off slowly just to build my credit because I didn't want a credit card, you know. But anyway, so here I am now. Like, I'm going through this process. February 2014, they do a colonoscopy. Like, hey, you have Crohn's disease. You know, we got to monitor your health. Like, you have moderate to severe, you know, condition. So they lay out my options in front of me, and they're like, let's just kind of monitor it. If it gets worse, like, we need to look at either surgery, a more aggressive drug, or these immunosuppressants. And long story short, August happens. I'm on an immunosuppressant. I've been doing that now since August of 2014. And I knew what to expect, but like, my wife, I felt like wasn't ready for that. And to me, I felt like there was a pressure to continuing to be the breadwinner, you know. But at the same time, like, no matter what I did, my health constantly declined. I got worse and worse. And I told her, we had these conversations, like, I just don't think my body can go another, I mean, at that point, 2014, another 12 years, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's literally decaying. And the doctor's like, hey, you're going to do this treatment and you can't be in, like, don't expect to be in the Marine Corps anymore. Like, I asked the question. He's like, just don't expect to be in the Marine Corps anymore. I looked at my wife. She's like, okay, I get it. Then we find out, and like a month later, I go see a dietitian, and like, my wife comes out of the bathroom. She's like, you know, covering her face with her hair and like looking at the TV. And we go and talk to the dietitian. We leave, and we're sitting in the parking lot. And she's like, hey, I got something to tell you. I'm like, let me guess, you're pregnant. You know, like, she's like, yeah, I'm pregnant. And I'm like, you know what, like, I'm happy, right? But at the same time, like, I am like dealing with depression. I am dealing with like all this. My mind's going to work. I said, hey, look, like, now we got a kid on the way. We got a mortgage. We got all this stuff, like everything I never wanted. I was like, and we can only project that my income would only last until my contract ends. Like, that's all we have left, you know? And what that created for us, that stress, was actually like an opportunity to like look internally and figure out, like, what can we do with the situation that we're given? And at the point for me, it wasn't even physical. At this point, like, my body is literally decaying. My doctors told me to stop working out. I'm going through this medical process, which is a stressor in itself. And then you find out that it's a legal process. So whatever documentation you provide is what they're going to make their decision on.
Wow.
And you're finding out that, somebody's only doing their job halfway. So not all your medical documentation made it to the board.
Wow.
So they can't even get a good sight picture on what's going on in your life. So I'm like, that was my focus. I'm like, I just need to focus in on this process. I need to focus in on my education again, and coincidentally, I just saw a post on Facebook where I walked 5 years ago for my master's degree today. And
congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, that's pretty cool. But and that too, like we talk about the toolbox. It's like I can't work under the same conditions that everyone else anymore. Like there's gotta be a way. So I reached out to my instructor and I said, hey, look, like I'm falling asleep. Like my fatigue is so bad, like I can't even function at work. I can't function at home. And now I got to do 8-week courses, like, and I'm falling asleep in the middle of a course at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
And for people that have Crohn's and these conditions, like you sleep like 12 to 16 hours, like your body just is malnourished because it's so much inflammation. It's not digesting things properly, And they were like, hey, look, we have a disabled program essentially where we can help you out. And to anybody listening, like if you are dealing with some type of disability, if you are going to school, like there's these actual centers at your universities where they can actually help you. And what we ended up doing was creating a education plan. And I had to get a letter from my gastroenterologist that these are the side effects of my condition and this is what I need. And because of that, my assignments were no longer late. They were on the timelines in which we established, and my GPA went from 3.0 to 2.5, and had to play with a new set of rules. And for my wife, I just had to encourage her. Look, I'm fatigued every single day. Like I don't know anything about being pregnant, but I understand like you being tired and you being worn down. But like with me going to work, even though now I'm going at 11 instead of 7, when I'm at work, like my mind's just focused on the task, and it's like a way to get away from my condition. And then the moment the day is done, it's like I haven't eaten because I'm afraid I'm gonna get more pain. So that just causes more fatigue. Like it's just a cycle.
Wow.
So I told her, I said, I think that if you just work, that you just be better off. And I was like, and we know that my career is ending. Like it only makes sense that you just pursue your dreams, So we had that heart-to-heart conversation, and that night she signed up for subbing in the counties around her area, and then she specifically chose one school she wanted to sub at.
Yeah.
She walked in pregnant. The secretary loved her. They gave her a temporary teaching position for 2 weeks or something like that. And then another teacher went on paternity leave, and then she ended up taking a 90-day position. And just to fast forward, because I was diligent in my education, I got it. So I graduated in May 2015, but I finished school. I walked in April.
Yeah.
And then like I was so focused on the process and doing it right. Like I got the attorneys involved and all this other stuff and held the people accountable to their job. And I was like, I just want the right picture of my condition to be presented. And when that happened, I got medically retired in July of 2015. And then the day before that, my wife got a call from the principal of the school and was like, hey, we love what you do. Like we have an open position.
Wow.
And it was like blessing after blessing, man. And like the only thing we did was like, again, we focused on what we had in front of us, again, looking at that toolbox, I guess. And I'm like, let me focus on my education. Let me focus on presenting the right picture of my condition so they can make an informed decision. So I don't need to appeal it ever again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, like you have an opportunity in front of you to pursue your dreams and do what it is that you want to do. I don't know why you're not doing that. And she went after it. And just the timing of it all. So now I'm on terminal leave and I get a job. I get a job working from home as a IT guy. And between that job, her job, like I sold back my leave. I think for 2 months, I think we netted like $30,000 in 2 months. Knocked out everything but our mortgage.
Yeah.
That's and yeah, no, it was wild, man. And so the thing I had to do at that point was like, now I'm faced with like no longer being Staff Sergeant Foutz. Like, who is Adam? Who's Adam?
Right.
And what is that Adam wants?
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, I still have a heart for people. I still love people. I still want to inspire people. But like, what does that look like outside the military? And I think for me, I realized that I like psychology, I like business, and I got my master's in industrial organizational psychology, so basically business psychology. And it's an opportunity to consult people and thinking through policy and how it's going to impact people and lives and stuff like that. And I was like, I've gone through this process, this medical process that is so, it's not the best, but it's not the worst. There's the intent is there, and I think for us as service members, we have a tendency to kind of take things at face value, where it's like, oh, it's a process. Let's give them what they want, and they'll take care of the rest. And you don't realize that it's not that at all. It's literally a legal process, and the decisions that are made for you are decisions that are going to affect the outcome of the rest of your life. And
that's true.
That was tough, man. So I just started this journey of like, I'm home, I'm working from home. Literally like on these treatments, like there'd be nights, again, I'd sleep for 12 hours, sleep for 16 hours. Wow. I'd wake up and just work, and I didn't have to go too far, but like I'd have neurological side effects to where like from my sacrum down, my legs would just give out. I couldn't walk for hours. Wow. And on top of that, like the malnourishment. So like the joint issues, my muscles are atrophying. And you do these treatments, and they are low class chemo treatment, and the things that you see where like you don't have an appetite, like you don't have no motivation, like I had to start fighting this stuff. And again, my doctors told me like, don't work out. As I'm navigating this process of getting out, my care providers are like, hey, just apply for Social Security disability. And I'm like, I can't be 26 or 27 years old and like always look at life as if I'm 80, and like, what is it going to look like when I'm 80 years old? And now I'm seeing I'm 26, 27. You're telling me to sit around till I'm 80 years old. Like, I'm just going to decay even more,
Right.
Like it's not an option for me. And I was like, what can I do? So I got that job, and I'm like, now that I have a job, that side of it's being taken care of. I just can't live with not being mobile and being active, and we have a baby, and I'm like, I'm struggling to even hold my child. And I told people, I'm pretty sure I'm already dealing with all this stuff. I'm pretty sure I had postpartum depression because the crying, the anger, like of a baby, like to me, I'm like task oriented. I'm like, all right, like I fed you, I wiped you, I changed you, I burped you, and I'm like trying to anticipate the baby's needs. And then I don't know if you have kids or not, but when a child is so young, like their needs change every day because their body's changing so fast. And it's like one day I'm holding you at 90 degrees. Now you're mad because you want me to hold you at 37.5, like, and I can't. I'm like, so I would just go ahead.
I got a question, because you were going through your treatments, and your wife was pregnant, and you have this news, right? And it's not as if you were, fully healthy, and your wife gave you this news and you were like, yes, it's the perfect timing, and everything, right? So, and with the vision and execution, so I'm trying to see, like, how did you have vision to move forward? Because you're saying like, you were like almost depressed, like just going through different things because your body is going through this transformation. You sleep long hours, or you don't get to sleep at all, or your body's stressed out because you're hungry and you don't want to eat because you don't want to jeopardize your day. So like, how did you orchestrate vision in the midst of chaos? Like, how's that possible?
I mean, honestly, man, I think faith is a huge part of it. Like, when I remember telling a friend of mine, I said, I remember this call. I'm like, I'm still going through this process, and I was like, what? I feel like, and I'm not saying I'm Jesus. I said, I feel like I understand where Jesus was coming from in the Garden of Gethsemane, where he's praying, he's asking God, like, take this cup from me. I was like, but I feel like the difference is like, he being a divine being, he knew that paradise is on the other side, eternal life is on the other side. For me, it's like, I don't know what's on the other side. Like,
right, you can hope for.
And I was like, but I truly feel that I'm going to go through this, and like the blessing is going to be on the other side of this. Like I just had to be diligent again in what's in front of me. And I mean, that's it, man. Like, and it wasn't easy. Like I was in a dark place, man. Like, and the only thing I could focus on are the things that I wanted to control, which was the process, my education, and finding a job. Like those things kept my mind focused on something else, you know. It was very tough. It was very tough for my wife because I'm not even the same person that I was when she married me, you know, at that time. And you know, the Marine Corps just changes you, you know. Definitely. And then on top of that, add another thing. And and that's the thing too, like a vision for our marriage. Like we decided till death do us part. Like that was already decided, you know. Like we're gonna get through this. You know, and then understanding my restrictions, like what can't I do? Like, you know, she talked about let's move to Ohio, move in with my parents. I'm like, no, I didn't spend 10 years to just throw it all away to just move in back to a place where there's nothing. Like that's fear based. Like I don't like to operate in fear. I'm like, and again, I'm like, I have all this debt. I have to work. Like there's no other option. Like I just got to find somebody that's willing to take me as I am and not settle on anything less than that, you know? And I found a company that was willing to do that. And I don't know, man, like the vision then, like, again, the vision there was like marriage, take care of that. The vision there was like job, take care of that. Cut out my finances, like get rid of everything so I'm debt free. We're not there yet. And the vision for my house was like, all right, like I'm making income now. We were able to get everything done, but our house, I think I need to increase my income. Like I can't. I realize that, I realize that the job that I have is good, but it's not going to help me pay off my house, you know. And I take another job and want to challenge my health. And where I'm at this point now is like I'm sitting at home. And like we're going through a contract issue with like every 6 months you don't know if you're gonna have a job, and I'm like, this just puts me back inside the mindset of like, am I getting out? Am I staying in? Am I getting medically retired? Am I getting separated? Like, I hate doing that. I'm cutting that off from my life, you know. So I joined a company that's a little more stable, and I want to challenge myself. I want to grow in finances. Like I have a finance background, accounting background through the Marine Corps. I want that to translate to that to the real world. And again, so it goes back to like, what is in my toolbox? What is Adam interested in? And what avenues are out there that I can just go ahead and tackle it? And my first job, the IT job that I did, was actually with the Office of Work Care Policy, and they manage all the programs that somebody would go through if they were getting retired or separated or wounded, ill, and injured. And so I went through that, and I'm like, I see myself there, you know, like if I can improve that process. And again, it's just understanding like, what have I done? What can I do? What's my restrictions? Who's willing to work with me? And then it's like, I kind of told somebody the other day, it's almost like you're just in this black hole in the wilderness somewhere. And like, I don't know, you see that, you know, plane flies overhead or something, and you realize that there's life out there, and you kind of want to explore it, you know. So now you're like, you're crawling up, you're like, okay, now I can see all this brush around me. And you're like, you know what, let me just kind of see what's beyond this brush, you know? And like, you're getting like thorns, you're getting taxed, whatever, like you're getting beat up, but like eventually you come to an open field and you realize that like there's so much opportunity beyond that black hole you were sitting in. And it was just like
I like that.
Like it just opens up. And at the moment, like again, like to me, I like to consider myself financially savvy. So I'm like, I should not have debt. Like it doesn't make sense. So I'm like, wife, you gotta work. Come on, babe. Like, pursue your dreams, you know? And her pursuing hers in the midst of her issues, I was like, you know what? Like, I can continue to do this too, right? So, and I aligned myself, like, I started to align myself with organizations and ideas that I believed in. So, like, if I didn't have the strength to do it, like, who can I align myself to that is where I want to be, you know? And I'm like, I navigated this process. I want to help service members through this, you know? So even though, again, so I got this job, even though I was an IT guy, like they had me analyze their programs and say, hey, how can we do this better based on your experience? And, and again, so and then I go to that like 6-month contract issue, like every 6 months potentially losing your job. And I'm like, well, I need to get beyond that. I still need to pay off my house. So I get another job, and it's a great experience, but it's a large corporation, and it put me back in that mindset of the Marine Corps where everyone's kind of like judgmental.
Right.
Like, yeah, we'll give you what you want, but really, no, we're not going to. Like,
right. It's like a game.
Yeah, like pay the man, you know. And I'm like,
yeah,
I don't need to live this life anymore. Like, I don't need to live by these rules. Like, I'm going to respect them because I'm under that authority of this organization or whatever. But we had a contract. We agreed to it. You're not holding up your end of the deal. Like, I'm finding a way to get out of this, you know?
Yeah.
And coincidentally, that job I got was from another Marine in Okinawa that I hadn't talked to in 10 years. And as I was at that company, there's another Marine. He's like, hey, man, I'm here. Like, I never seen him in the building. Yeah, I'm leaving. He's like, I can't do this. He's like, what do you want to do? I'm like, well, like, I think I want to move too. And I found the agency that actually supports that office that I was supporting at, you know, and so I got my financial experience through this company. And now I'm being told, hey, there's an opportunity to do audit support. Hey, baby girl. Hi. To do audit support for this agency, utilizing the skills of your Marine Corps, of this last transition that you have, and you have knowledge of this agency because of the program that you just went through. Yeah. And sorry. So
so as you see, Adam has been through a lot already in his lifetime, and I couldn't even imagine, for one, going through what you're going through, bro. Like, I couldn't imagine having to go with you know, battling an immune system disease and just because, like, I'm so used to being able to do, and I'm like you, like, you know, we wake up 0 dark 30 in the morning and we can go run a couple of miles, we can go do some foolish stuff and do a lot of up down burpees and all that good stuff, and you take that and then you tell a person you can't do this anymore. And it's almost like I see you doing that analogy that you said. You're like, you look up even in the midst of your chaos and you're like, oh, there's a plane flying over. There is still life out there somewhere. Let me continue to move forward. And I think that's amazing because a lot of people get stuck there. So what would you tell a person who, one, maybe they have Crohn's disease, or maybe they have something that is stopping them from living their life the way they used to live it? What are some things that they could do to adjust their life to their dreams? Because you don't want to cancel your dreams, right? Okay, so what could they do?
Yeah, so I think I hate saying this now. For me, it was a term that actually meant something back then, but it really was my new norm. It was, I have Crohn's disease. I have a treatment every 8 weeks. Every 8 weeks, my symptoms are different. I have to own that. I have to accept that. The other thing too I had to go through was understanding like who Adam was pre-2014 is not the same Adam, you know, and I had to live by a different set of rules, and I had to accept that. Yeah. And I need the world to now play by these rules so I can function. And it's not like oh, you owe me this or you owe me that. It's like, I'm taking ownership of my life, and I know the vision I have for me and the things that I want to accomplish. And I want to find, again, like, what organization can honor like, hey, if you say you work with disabled veterans, or if you say you work with people, like, you're equal opportunity employer, like, okay, like, cool. But two, I also want to know, like, what mission do you have? Because in my mind, like, I want to help service members. I want to help, like, there's a mission in my life. So I want to align myself to an organization that shares the same mission, the same passion. Yeah. And I don't know. It's like, I think deep down, it's understanding, like, you're no longer the same person that you were preconditioned. And yeah, I guess we'll kind of relate to the COVID-19 pandemic, man. Like, so me and my brother, what did we end up doing? We did a thing called a virtual run, and so I went on Zoom, and we're just talking, and we're seeing each other as we're talking, running through the neighborhoods and stuff. Yeah, and I'll talk more about the physical side soon, but and how I end up where I am today. But you know, we're talking, and he's like, you know, like, what do you think about all this? And I said, well, you know, for me, I've already gone through this. Like, I've lost everything. I had to restart my life, reestablish my economy, my personal economy. I had to reestablish like who I was. I think we see that the world is really just suffering from this, and the reality is like things I had to learn and were very difficult for me was importance of rest. Like everything I do now, honestly, is from rest. And like before, it was like let me continue to work and continue to strive and continue to do. And then when I'm worn out, and then when my body wants to give out, I'll let it recover. But I don't even let it recover because I'm up at 04:30 and I'm hitting it the next day, you know. And I learned like my body is my greatest asset, my mind's my greatest asset. Like as long as you got those things, like you're good. Like and if you're in the darkness, like just find that one thing that you know you have control of, like that one little light, you know. And for me, what was it? It was like honestly for me, it was I wanted to be physically active. And the cool thing about me forcing myself with this other job and kind of stretching myself was that I had to go into the office. Like I had flexible hours, but it forced me to no longer be stagnant. So even though I struggled with walking and fatigue and all this stuff, like me driving, I drove 2 hours to work, and it wasn't that we ended up moving. It ended up being a 2-hour drive.
2 hours.
Like the car helped me move, you know, helped my mind engage, and then I get to the office, like I realized, like as time goes on, like yes, there's the stressors at work, and yes, they're not accommodating or whatever, like they said they were going to be, but I'm 6 months in, and I've been walking this whole time, and I've been doing these things without even thinking about it, and I realized I'm like, you know what, like one, I deserve better. I deserve a better environment, and two, I've proven myself that I can do this, you know, and I don't need this environment to. I don't need them. I don't need the healthcare. I don't need whatever. And that's why I ended up getting this new job where I literally took a month off and just. I was like, you know what? I want this. I want to work for this agency. I want to do everything I can. I want to use my skills and improve healthcare for the military. And that's what I've been doing ever since. I've been doing that since 2016. And
we need that.
And it's been cool to people who haven't gone through it. They're just kind of seeing themselves as the key puncher. You know, like I'm just doing a transaction, or I'm just pulling information. I'm like, no, like everything you do is the picture in mind is better care for our service members, beneficiaries, and our caregivers. Like that's the process here. Like you improve your finances, you improve operations, you improve care, you know. And I believe that. I'm sold on it. I try to get people sold on it, because once you give them that vision, then they have a reason to work, then they're reason to passion. And I think we see a lot of people that just kind of go through the motions of like, I got a job. No, I'm making it. I'm good, man. Like,
because it doesn't have any value, right? Like I think value and vision go hand in hand. If your vision if you don't see the value, then you won't see the vision, you know. So you going through what you went through, and now you're working there, you now understand the value even of the whole VA healthcare system. Like me as a disabled veteran as well, like I understand the value of the VA. And, you know, I hate when you meet people in the VA system who don't understand what you're going through or what you've been through, you know, so they want you to go through the same transitions and everything. But so value and vision. The Bible says without a vision, or with the lack of vision, the people perish. Without a vision, the people perish. Right. And, you know, you and I are faith-based guys. We're like, we believe in the Lord. We believe in scripture. And has that helped you a lot in your walk? I don't know if you were trying to refrain from mentioning it. I don't know if you thought I didn't want you to mention it, but I do want you to talk about your faith, because your faith may have given you vision when, you know, you were in that dark places. Someone is where you were, you know, 10 years ago. Someone is where you were 5 years ago. And I want to speak to that person who's about to give up on their purpose, and they're about to give up on their goals. They're about to give up on their family even. And, you know, how can we pull them out of that darkness? Where can they find hope?
Yeah, I think that's a good question, man. For me, honestly, I feel like I try not to over spiritualize everything. I feel like I believe in Jesus. I believe he's a savior. I believe in God. And but what I really believe is that the greatest thing he has given us is our mind. And like that's where the enemy wants to constantly attack, is our mind. And you know, the Bible talks about being renewed by be changed by the renewing of your mind. Like, that sticks with me all the time because again, like I've changed so much again since 2014, and it's been a constant renewal process. And I realized that I can't go back to who Adam was, who Staff Sergeant Foutz was. Like that guy's dead. Like there's insecurities that kind of creep in too. I'm like, I got to fight those because they have no place here. Like I can't let them take hold because I'm better than that. And the thing I always told myself was, like, I can't accept the circumstances that I'm given. Like that's really it. I can't accept that I'm 27 years old. I'm gonna be sitting around until I'm 80 with nothing to do, like nothing to live for. And I'm like, I can't accept that God would give me a life to just sit around and be stagnant. And that's when I realized like the power of creativity. And I realized that like me looking up and seeing a plane made me understand like there's life, like that's a small vision. That's a small glimpse. And that gave me a little bit of hope to just to move forward, and then I'm like, again, analyzing like what is Adam interested in? I was like, all right, well, like when you're depressed, the things that you're interested in really aren't going to be that interesting, like,
and it's not active either.
And it's not. But if you just do something, right? So for me, like I was like, I miss running. I miss being physically active. My doctors told me not to do this, but I just had my treatment. I don't know. I think I'm like a year in maybe.
Yeah.
And I'm laying on the floor, man. And I'm like, you know what? Like this is the worst I'm ever going to feel. And I need to make a decision right now. Like, what am I going to do about this? I was like, I know I can't walk right now. I know I can't run. I know I can't, whatever. What can I do laying on this floor? I was like, let me soak up my pride, not do a Marine Corps push-up, but let me do a modified
moderated push-up, right?
So I literally like, I put my hands down. I'm laying on my stomach, do one push-up. I'm winded. I'm like, I'm done. Like that's it. And again, like, so for somebody that's like lacking that vision, because all I see is darkness, it's like, take that one step. Like, just, if you like writing, like, just write the word "the" on a piece of paper. Like, like
start.
Do something. Like, and what that translated for me as is, again, it went from doing a push-up to doing 5. By the end of the week, I was doing 5. And then 8 weeks later, I'm like, I look at the website again. I told you I used to do CrossFit. I look at what they call a WOD, workout of the day, and it was like sprint 400 meters, do these push-ups, pull-ups, or whatever. I'm like, let me like crawl over to the steps, grab the handrail, and just start walking up these steps, assisted. And I'll do it for 20 minutes, whatever. And I get up, I do my 5 modified push-ups, I walk back down. Like I did that for 20 minutes. I'm just like, I'm gutted, man. Like that's it. Like And it went from that to like my mind just starts like taking action. Your mind just starts going to work and starts seeing new things, and it's pretty amazing. I told my friend, what do you want to do? I was like, I think I want to run a 5-minute mile. Like that's something I wanted to do in high school. I burned out. It's contentious on whether or not it happened because of the clock or whatever. But and that was back in 2016. So I want to run a 5-minute mile. So it went from like just walking up steps. I went from modified push-up to walking up steps. And again, I created these little visions. And I told you, like, it's nothing glorious. But at the time, it was the most significant decision that I made in the moment, And the little moments, like, became big moments. And as I look back, like, say, okay, a modified push-up, whatever. But in the moment, it's like, wow, I did that. I accomplished that. Like, and then your mind's like, hey, like your mind is telling your body, like, hey, you could do this, And again, I think it's like, about like peep sights and stuff like that. You got a little hole with a little glimpse of light, and you can see it, and the next thing you know, like you walk towards it, and that the light starts to just expand, and that vision you start to see more, and then you see more opportunity, and so for me, like the physical side became the most important thing for me. Like I built my mind through my education and through scripture and stuff like that. And I feel like every day is constantly renewal. Every day is constant change. And I have this, this philosophy, I think that like, I was thinking about today, actually, like the brain is like soil, the mind is like soil, they say. And like what made me think about this, I was doing yard work years ago before we moved, and I'm trying to get these trees out of my bed of my front of my house. Why are trees in the bed of the house when it should be plant like flowers, you know?
Right.
And I'm like, I'm working, I'm trying to pull this stuff out, and like these roots just keep getting deeper. The soil keeps getting harder, and then these roots like start expanding out, you know. And I'm like the mind is literally like, it is that soil, and it doesn't care what you plant inside of it. It just starts to flourish. It starts to create whatever it is that you plant, right? So like,
yeah,
like I don't know, like literally anything. So like the insecurities of your past, even the subconscious things that happened to you. Like, I'll be honest, I used to have a fear of death when I was a kid, but I almost died when I was born. Like, me and my mom almost died, you know. And I think about like, you know, I don't want to talk politically, but like, had they decided to take my life and maybe take my mom's life and not fight for us, like I would not be here on this podcast today, you know.
Right.
And when I thought about vision for my future, I had this lie. Like, you asked a question a while ago about like, hey, like, is it the love of God that you care for, or is it hell? You know. And
right.
I'm 15 and 16 years old, man, and I'm thinking about eternity, and I'm like, I believe in God, I believe in Jesus, but me, like, I'm so broken, I'm so disgusting, like my life is so effed up. Like, who am I that, like, maybe I could lead people to Jesus, but I'm not going to heaven. Like, I'm not worthy of that. And like, so I had false doctrine, you know, I had false ideologies. Like, I wasn't, my mind was just, you know, I'm basing it on the fact that, you know, my father was an abusive alcoholic and he abandoned us. And I'm like, more than likely God's going to abandon me too, you know? So I'm 15, 16 years old. I'm looking at eternity and I see black and darkness, you know? And I'm like, you know what? If that's heaven, like, I don't even want that, because if God isn't there, I'm still in isolation. Like, that's hell to me. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know, man.
I relate with that, brother, because you said, sorry to cut you off, but you said total isolation is like your hell, right? And it's just that's been, and I had the same thing. Like, I think about death constantly now, even more, even after Afghanistan and stuff. Like, I think about it a lot, and you know, it also, going through depression, my vision was really cloudy because I was planting bad seeds in the soil of my mind, you know, and always thinking about negative things, death, and what if this happens, and oh well, this could happen, you know. So do you feel that while you were going through your transition and coming out, it's because you went into this Crohn's disease, right? You went into it, and I feel like you've been coming out of it, and it may be a disease, like whatever the doctors may say, they may say whatever it is, but just hearing your story, if I were reading a book right now and I'm waiting for this next chapter to you know, when the guy is standing on top of the mountain and he's just beating his chest like, oh, I'm undefeated, you know, because that's where I see your life going, because of what you've done already. Like, you've went through this process and you're sitting here on this podcast. You know, that's a story to tell, man, because you didn't allow this to hinder your growth. You didn't allow this to hinder you from being creative. You got your bachelor's degree, you got your master's degree, you wrote books, you know, you got your kids, you got your wife still, you know, like it's a blessing, because you could have lost it all of it, you know, because people take that, you know. We know guys that were in the Marine Corps, and I know in Okinawa there's a guy who almost got kicked out, and he was going to commit suicide because he was getting kicked out because he was going to lose the Marine Corps. So the fact that, you know, you my brother are standing here right now is a testament to how strong you are, you know. So I'm just like, yo, this guy's like Superman, you know. And you know, so it's amazing, man. It's just amazing.
I'm getting chilled, man, because what you talked about, that Marine, right? Like,
yeah,
we find our identity in things, and I'm getting chills because that's what the one thing I hate about our culture is, like, and I'll say it, like, hey, he's African American, he's a white guy, like, you want to put labels on people, like, okay, he has a psychology degree, this guy's uneducated, like, I'm like, none of that matters. At the end of the day, like, shut that all down. Like, and I told a friend of mine years ago, I'm like, the only reason I went and even pursued my education because I felt it was free. I would have lost $5,000 a year in tuition assistance if I didn't do it. I'd be foolish to lose that money. Two, like, I know that I like psychology, and you can't do anything with a bachelor's in psychology, you know. And like business, I like psychology. So I'm like, let me do a master's. And I'm like, I just want it as a key. It doesn't define who I am. It doesn't make me who I am.
Yeah.
And that was the undoing. Like I saw a psychologist when I was gonna like transitioning out. And I was like, I don't even know if I'm getting out. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I was like, but the issues that I have at 10 years are the same issues I'm gonna have at 20. And it's probably gonna be worse because I've held on to it for 10 more years, another decade. You know, like I'd rather deal with this stuff now. And I don't know. I mean, it was good. Like, and I realized like Adam is not like Staff Sergeant Foutz. Staff Sergeant, like, yes, I was in the Marine Corps. Yes, I did X, Y, Z. But like, and people want to like, yeah, whatever. I'll use that. I'm a Marine. Like, okay, I'll use that. But at the same time, like, I'm still Adam. You know what I mean? Like, one thing I realized too is like, I don't know, like the decision to work hard, like that to me was instilled in me and my mom. Like the decision to keep going. Like she. Again, she was a single mother of 5 kids. Like she went through hell, you know, and she's still living. She's still making it. Like she has medical issues right now. And she's still working. You know what I mean? And again, everyone's journey is different. I'm not downplaying people with other issues and stuff, but her decision to keep going and to be here to see her grandchildren, like that means a lot to me. And like her example is a great example. And I don't know, man. Like I think too often we find our identity in a thing as opposed to understanding who we are. And I think my biggest goal for people is to help them identify like who they are, you know, like he was Adam, like somebody's like, hey, you know, you're fun, you're loving, you're this, you're that. Like, I don't care that I love my kids, but I don't care that I'm a father, you know, like that doesn't,
it doesn't define you.
Yeah. Or like being a consultant, you know what I mean? Like I like people. So, you know, I want to understand what it is that you're dealing with, so I can help you improve your process, so that it can be better for everybody else. You know, like it's just who I am, and I like to like understand like who you are at the core of who you are, and to do that, like you have to uproot all this other crap that is in your life, that you know, those deep roots, and you find that as you're pulling the tree out of the ground, like there's so much more that's uncovered, and like so much more that you see as your identity, like. Oh, like, you know, like my dad was an abusive alcoholic, like that means I'm worthless and I have no direction, I have no vision. And then you pull that root out and you realize like, no, like that's him, that's not me. You know? And you know, then you realize that like, oh, this girl broke my heart, like I'm ugly, I'm fat, I'm whatever. Like no, you're not. Like it just didn't work out with you. Like they had their own issues and insecurities that they're working through, and you got your own, and like that's it. And I realize even being married, I'm like, the more we're married, I'm like, wow, like this, I do this because this is some type of social behavior in which I grew up in, and I'm analyzing it in my family. And she's doing this because of the same thing, and now we're reconciling that. We're trying to create something better, you know? And it's like
something new.
Yeah, and it's like it's not good or bad, it's just different. And you know, when it comes to 2 different cultures coming together, it's gonna construed as different, you know, and you work through that to create something better for your family. And that's like, you know, another vision, other roots you got to uplift. And again, the more I'm on this journey, the more I learn about myself, and I'm like, that dude's pretty jacked up, man. Like
which one, the Marine or the Adam? I'm just playing.
both no, for real.
No, but I think tell your wife I think she's awesome first and foremost, because you know, she stood by your side, and, you know, like the vows say, till death do us part, and from sickness and health and all that good stuff. And a lot of people, they tune out on that part when they're getting married. They're like all excited, you know, and it's like, oh, death, yes, that's cool. But like, you know, sickness and then health, you know, so she, man, just hats off to her, you know. And I know pictures aren't perfect, but you know, to see someone standing next to their person, and I'm pretty sure you might not have been the best person to be around, you know, when you were going through your moods and stuff. I just only imagining, you know, being stressed out and going through that, you know. So it's just I just want people to understand that coming out of something, like going into something and coming out of something, can be different. Like you don't have to come out the same way you went in. And COVID-19 is the perfect example for this. Like we were in a situation, maybe, you know, before we got into COVID-19, we were broken, hopeless, we were going through depression, and we were sick, or whatever it is. We allowed our identity to be shaped by our situation and not our own identity of who we were, you know. And coming out of this, we have the ability to shift the way we see ourselves, the same way you did. Like, you didn't just look in the mirror and say, oh, you're a failure, you're this, you're that, you're never going to be anything, you're done, you're doomed. You picked up, you got on the floor, you did your push-ups, you got up the stairs, and you're doing marathons and stuff. This guy is, who is he? Who's doing you know, like, you're doing marathons, you're out here chiseled and in shape, and you're just not stopping for anything. And the resiliency is just amazing, bro. Like, I'm not even, you know, trying to fluff you up or nothing, but it's really dope, bro. And I have to tell you that, because when you're the person doing it, you don't see how great you are when you're doing it, right? People be like, oh, Adam, like, that's crazy. You went through this, you did that, and now you're here. You know, you'd be like, yeah, that's cool. Yeah. But I mean, you went to school while you're in the military, you got your bachelor's, you got your master's, you're going through the treatment. You went through the treatments of Crohn's disease. You went through the process of becoming a father, you know? So like, it's just, you went through the transitions, Tennessee to California, all the way back to the East Coast. Like, it's amazing how you come out still together, even if you've been through a lot of, you know, situations. We got Delgado here. What is he saying? And why didn't you say I'm your homie, Delgado? I know you act like you brand new today, Adam.
Oh, Delgado, man. He's the voice that
he's motivated.
Keeps me honest. So
I remember him back in the day. That's amazing. But Adam, we're at an hour 11. Time flew by really fast. Yeah. But definitely, I appreciate your story, bro, because it is one of, and that's why I could sit and listen to your story, because when you're listening to someone's story, you receive the story, and then you put yourself in their shoes, and you say, well, you put yourself in their shoes the best way you can, and you say, wow, if I was in this situation, how would I have come out of this situation, right? And a lot of people, they get big-headed and they say, well, if I went through that situation, I would have ran 10 marathons and did this and that, because they try to think they're greater than what they are. But, you know, the same thing that happened with the friend that tried to commit suicide in Okinawa, you know, I sat there at the mental health facility, and I was like, how could you do? I'm thinking in my mind, I'm like, how could you do this? Like, that was so ridiculous. You were getting kicked out the Marine Corps. It's your fault, you know. And I was in that, you know, that mindset. As far as Marines go, we're like, oh, you silly, you dummy, you do this and that. But when I went through depression, when I went through PTSD, and when I had that gun in my mouth, and when I wanted to blast my head off, when I wanted to give up, I understood right then and there what that guy felt like. I understood what he was going through and how he could imagine killing himself. And so that's why my hat goes off to you, bro, because I can only imagine the trials and tribulations and the discomfort of going through that process, man. So that's my spiel, because it's just so important for people to understand that just because you are at a place right now and it looks like there's no life ahead of you, there's nothing out there, you can still move forward and have a vision for your future that doesn't look like your situation right now. But yes.
Yeah. And just to, and I know we got to wrap up, but you know, I think it's, so I want to kind of touch on the physical side too. So I did all that, right? And I started running and I started walking. I walked 100 meters, and I'm like, you know what? Like, eventually what had happened is I'm at work, and I'm like, you know what? Like, let me go further. Like, let me just keep going further. And I end up running a marathon, and I end up getting sick. It's October, and that's like my worst. October to March is my worst. So it took me another 2 years. I built up to an ultra marathon. I ran it in the backcountry on just a January day, 31.2 miles or 32. I can't remember the course, but I did that. And then I'm like, you know what? Like, I want to continue to improve, but I know if I want to improve and get faster, like, I gotta fix my diet. I gotta get my strength up. And anytime I'd be in the gym, I'd start bleeding because of stress. So I got a trainer. He helped me out. I was like, hey, let's work through this Crohn's disease together. And I was like, I'll top it off by doing a physique competition. And I was like, I'm not a physique competitor, but I know that you need strength, right? So he coaches me. I do it for, I don't know, it's 90 days. So the funny thing is I made the decision. And part of the reason I was even training too to get faster is because in my recovery care, I wanted to do what was called the Marine Corps Trials, or DoD Warrior Games. And they just opened it up to veterans. and I missed out on it as an active duty service member because I couldn't do these things.
Yeah.
And as I made that decision to start strength training, I get the email to say, hey, like, go ahead and apply for what's the Invictus Games. It's an international competition for active duty service members and veterans, wounded, ill, and injured. And I'm 5 days in. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to sign up for a track event. I end up almost pulling my hamstring on day 5 of my strength conditioning.
Yeah.
And so now I'm going to the gym on crutches. All my cardio is just rowing. I do this for 90 days. I get like, I think day 88, I finally get to like start jogging again, and I'm biking probably around day 70 or something. But it's just amazing. So I do the competition, and like I essentially was carb depleted. So I'm eating carbs and carb loading, and I reached out to a guy that was he held the mile record in high school, and I said, hey, I know you're a coach now. Like, can you coach me to break 5 minutes in the mile? And I went from 6 minutes to a 5:24 on the 100th day, simply because of the strength training that I had done with my friend and the diet program. And I said, hey, like, the day before my physique competition, I get another email and say, hey, there's an opportunity to do Marine Corps trials. Go ahead and apply. I told my story. I said, I want to do this. I did a time trial that Sunday. So the physique competition, again, I'm not a physique bodybuilder type guy, right? Like, but I ended up placing in the competition, and I did novice, and I did like a debut, so beginner. And I was like, let me do 2, because I know my mind, because I'm like, if I don't do 2, like, I know I'm going to be mad that I didn't correct myself or whatever. So I actually lost in the debut, which is like beginners. And then I ended up placing in the novice, which is next level beginner. But that was my baseline. Then I ran a 5:24 for my 1500 time trial. Again, going literally no running, minimum running. And then I do this program with this coach, and like, on the track every Saturday, I have to fight my demons of like, am I going to hurt myself again? Am I going to go back to burning out? Like, and everything came from a place of rest. And he's like, no, like, we're only going to worry about speed on Tuesdays and Saturdays, and everything else is just put in the miles, you know? And anyways, I ended up going to the Marine Corps trials. I ended up winning the 1500 meter run. I ended up winning the 800 meter, and I ran a 4:51, which is sub 5. And now I'm trying. Now I'm trying to get to the Warrior Games, and yeah, man, like, again, it's like every day I'm still battling myself. Every day, every treatment I have is a new thing I have to overcome. But the biggest thing is you just got to keep moving, man. Like, you have to, like, and that vision, like, it changes, it expands, and you got to be flexible, like, and be open to it. And when you are, it's amazing to see what the world opens up for you. Like me, it took me 5 years to fix my diet and be able to do strength training. And in that 5th year is when I get this offer. I almost pulled my hamstring. I'm on crutches. Like, I go back at it, you know, like, I continue to do it. And, you know, I fought myself. I fought my old mindset, and I'm like, you know what? Like, I don't see myself as great. I just see myself as a regular guy. And I've always told myself, like, if I can do this, like, anybody can do this. I truly believe that. And literally the only obstacles I read this back in high school, is like, the only obstacles you got to overcome are your own, like the ones in your mind. Like, you are the one that is holding you back from accomplishing what it is that you want to do. And it's easy to point the finger, it's easy to find excuses, but at the end of the day, when all you have left is yourself in that little black hole, like, you have a decision to make, and no, it doesn't rest on anybody else. And from there, you just got to take ownership of it and just keep going. Like, again, even if that vision is just to see another airplane, like, look up and see that airplane, you know, like, and then it's like, all right, let me see if I can crawl out of this hole, you know, like, take 2 steps to do that. Like, it doesn't have to be like this huge grand thing, but you find, like, every step matters, you know. And I tell people now, if I'm training them or working out with them, I'm like, you know, 1 step, 1 rep, 1 meal, 1 day. Like, that's it. Like, maybe you mess up meal number 5 and you ate chocolate and you shouldn't have. Like, that's fine. Like, just wake up in the morning, start over. Like, it's okay, you know. Like, and my old mindset was like that Marine Corps mindset. Like, oh, you're a failure. Like I would always focus on those 90% of the things that went wrong, and not accept the fact that I took, you know, the 10% success in which I had. And now I'm learning to just, every small step is 1 step closer to the goal and 1 step further away from who I used to be. And every day is that decision to decide, like, do I stand still and fall back to who I was, or do I continue to move forward? And I think that's what the Marine Corps taught me, was like, the decision that you make is a habit that you're going to form. And like the idea to go to boot camp is a habit. The idea to quit boot camp is a habit. You're going to continue to be a quitter.
Right.
If you decide to graduate, like you continue to do these things like that help you to progress. And if it doesn't play out the way you want it to, like just continue to advance in a new direction, you know, like that's where I'm at, man.
Yeah.
And again, I don't have it figured out, but
you're figuring it out.
Yeah. Like
and you're doing a good job.
Again, even if that vision is just something so small, just do it. Like, just have a vision, execute, you know, and the last thing I would say is that the days that I fail myself in my mind, I try to listen to people that will speak truth into me. So that usually I'll listen to like motivational speeches and stuff if I'm working out, because I'm like, man, I'm tired today. But I don't know, I hear like Sylvester Stallone or Arnold Schwarzenegger like giving some motivational speech, and like, like, you know what, like, that's what I truly believe. But now I'm just kind of in my emotions. Like, and that's okay. Like, let me continue to work out, you know, and not every day am I going hard. It's like you probably give 80% effort 80% of the time, and max effort 20% of the time, you know, like I don't know, man. So that's it. Like one day at a time. Don't beat yourself up. Create the vision. Every step towards that vision matters. Don't look back at what you don't have. Look at how far you advance, even if it's one step, 1 mil, 1 rep, 1 day, you know? So.
That was motivated. Hey, 1 step at a time. 1 step. We got Reiner C says, you rock. You rock.
Thanks, Ron. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I think you're talking to me too, so I appreciate it too. Thank you so much. But yeah, brother, like you do rock, and 1 step at a time for all of us, and that's what I'm going to do, bro. Because you know, it's not easy for the motivators either. You know, so that's why I wear my shirt all the time, because it's like I emailed my teachers like, yo, I want to quit school, even though I graduated in December. I hate it. I don't want to do any more work. But if I quit now, when will I stop quitting? Like, when will you make the decision to stop quitting on your dreams because it's getting too difficult and our feelings are involved in it? But yeah, so I got to jump on this group discussion call. But Adam, thank you, brother, for your time. And everyone, please go to his Instagram and Facebook. Well, you can find his Instagram here, right here, scrolling across the screen. And then let them know what about Ibex. Is it Ibex method, right?
Yeah, that's right. Ibex method. I won't get into the history of it, but the idea of it is basically, as I was going through my journey, me and my friend Steve he was a track athlete with me in high school. We just believe he did powerlifting and Olympic lifting. I mean, if you look at all these sports, we just kind of believe that there's these basic foundation building blocks that are necessary to become a top athlete and top performer. And we like to bring on people who are strength conditioners, psychologists, whatever it may be, to help you understand what information is out there, free of charge, to help you become the best version of yourself when it comes to your journey. So
well, that's awesome then. So y'all definitely check that out. Support Adam in his path of greatness and his journey towards greatness. I'm pretty sure you're going to be doing more marathons and stuff like that, maybe.
Yeah, I want to do a 50 miler. I want to build up to that.
Okay.
And then, I am signed up for the this year's 50K. Let's see if it comes up.
Let me see. Oh yeah,
so,
MCM 50.
That's another story. Go ahead.
Do you have like sponsors and stuff for that?
No, I don't have sponsors. But
do you need sponsors or something?
I'm good. I'm good for now. If I do a charity run or something, then maybe I'll reach out to you. And
okay, I'll start a charity run so that you can so we can do that. I'll sponsor a charity run. Well, not sponsor, but I'll create a charity run.
If you are interested, Semper Fi Fund is a great fund. They're actually the ones that helped me get into last year's Marine Corps Marathon 50K. Yeah. They also helped me get to the Marine Corps trials to compete. The USO has been great. Like they housed us as we were transitioning through the airports, and then USO Camp Pendleton brought food every single day. So yeah, you could look into those things. And then obviously, those of you who are kind of my audience, I guess, Alan is an author, so go ahead and find his book. And I just want to put the plug in there that I'm still waiting on mine. So.
Oh yeah, you are, and it's supposed to be in the mail. I got to check the mailbox. I didn't go outside Wednesday. I will go check. Thank you for putting me on a blast like that. He said I'm actually waiting on mine, on my book. But yeah, I'll get that to you ASAP, brother. But yeah, man, I really do appreciate you. And I'm so thankful that I've had this opportunity to sit and chop it up with you. I felt like we were just having a conversation with just me and you. And I really do appreciate that, because I was able to get a glimpse of what you have been going through versus just like what social media, you know, social media doesn't give us the full picture of what our friends and family members, old coworkers are going through. So definitely check on your battle, but be a battle buddy, check on your friends. Delgado, thank you so much for acknowledging me. Hold on, wait, I gotta. Delgado actually acknowledged me. Okay, love the pod. Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you so much, Delgado. You're such an awesome guy to acknowledge me. It's been 10 years. You haven't called or anything. So yeah, but yeah, brother. Simplify and man, just stay dedicated and motivated. And I look forward to seeing you grow.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for letting me share my story. I'm trying to be just more open to that. You know, I haven't. I feel like it's time to kind of come out of hiding, and Delgado keeps calling me out on that as well. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I appreciate this platform and opportunity, and you got my support 100%. So thank you.
Awesome, brother. Appreciate it. Make sure you write. So your life story now belongs in the book, so that someone somewhere who's going through the same thing, maybe in a different form, but the same thing that you're going through, can use that. So everyone is hearing me say this to you right now live, that you need to write a book of your story, and you can tell that story through another person's life or whatever it is, but write that story out and publish that book, and then send me my royalties. All right, brother. All right, brother. I'll catch you later.
All right, man. Have a good one. Thank you.
All right, you too. All right, guys and gals, this has been another episode of the Purpose Pod. Thank you for sticking in with us. Appreciate you sticking in with us, man. I loved hearing Adam's story because it has inspired me to live this day to the fullest. It has inspired me to conquer. It has inspired me to look in my own toolbox to see what it is that I'm good at, what I'm passionate at, and never give up on your dreams, folks. Like, this guy kept on dreaming. He kept on living. He kept on pushing. Never stop, never quit, repeat. Get that in your spirit. Go out there, pursue your dreams, pursue your goals, and be the man or woman that you desire to be in this world today. Peace. Make sure you subscribe to my website, AlanLeviSimmons.com. Follow me on Instagram, Alan Levi Simmons. Go buy my book, Can I Speak book. Go follow Adam on Instagram and Facebook. Peace.